Earth, teach me stillness as the grasses are stilled with light. Earth, teach me suffering as old stones suffer with memory. Earth, teaching me caring as parents who secure their young. Earth, teach me courage as the tree which stands all alone. Earth, teach me limitation as the ant which crawls on the ground. Earth, teach me freedom as the eagle which soars in the sky. Earth, teach me resignation as the leaves which die in the fall. Earth, teach me regeneration as the seed which rises in the spring. Earth, teach me to forget myself as melted snow forgets its life. Earth, teach me to remember kindness as dry fields weep with rain. These words are from the Ute Indians of North America. Dictionary.com defines transition as a movement, passage, or change from one position, state, stage, subject, concept to another. Change, such as the change from adolescence to adulthood. I've noticed that we all face a lot of changes every day. For most of us, these changes are a small speed bump. For some, changing dinner plans can be apocalyptic. I would guess that just in coming here this morning, every single one of us has had to deal with some type of a change in plans. Some of you might have discovered an empty milk jug, or maybe the box of cereal was empty. Maybe the car was out of gas. I know I didn't expect my 17-year-old to be at the computer when I came downstairs this morning for my usual preaching day routine at 4 a.m. It definitely made me cranky and obviously made me forget the reading and took away the easy peace and calm I usually have. And yet here we all are. I would also guess that there were some people who wanted to be here but were unable to make it because of life's ever-changing plans and some circumstances beyond their control. One door closes and another opens, even if the doors are tiny fairy-sized doors. Then there are birthdays, anniversaries, graduations, weddings, and funerals. These mark larger changes in our lives. If it's your birthday or anniversary, it's an important day. If it's your high school or college graduation day, it's exciting. If you are the bride or groom, the day can be magical. If it's your loved one's funeral, a funeral can be devastating. The rest of us are called to bear witness to these days, to celebrate with you, cry with you, or maybe even just be there. The program or invitation, remembrance card, or thank you might end up tucked in a book somewhere, or maybe it will end up in the trash can. It's not our celebration, so we mark it and cheer for our friends. It's not our beloved who's no longer here, so we bear witness, and then our life moves on. One door closes, and another opens, and the circle of the year moves on. Then there are those other transitions. The huge transition that we're facing this year is not one that many face. We're transitioning from my husband being in active duty military and trying to learn and remember how to be a family as a retired military family. Military retirement seems different from most retirements from my perspective. There aren't many places where you can retire at 41 and have the opportunity to embark on a new career. One door closes and another opens. Neat and tidy. Only it isn't. We had grandiose ideas of jumping right into the next step of our professional lives, clinical pastoral education for me, and a new profession that has absolutely nothing to do with food service for Doug. We've discussed every available program at Stevens Technical College, Harrisburg Area Community College, and a few even at Millersville University. Commercial driver's license and driving a truck. That was a huge, really? Are you kidding me? My husband Doug loves Excel. For those of you who don't know, it's a spreadsheet and it's very specific and there's a block for everything. He wants a spreadsheet of the next 5, 10, and 15 years based on the conversations of the last 4 or 5 years. Me, I don't want to have the conversation about 5 or 10 years down the road. My 5 and 10-year plans haven't worked out so well over the past 20 years. More like the finger of God from Monty Python waits to see my plan and reaches down to stir it up. I've been struggling, procrastinating with my CPE application, putting my ears in my fingers and singing la 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 la, rather than engaging another conversation about all the opportunities from which Doug could choose. After quite a bit of thought, we realized that just getting used to Doug being home and living in our house full time is going to be a huge change. My mom, she's right there, will need a little time to stop jumping and expecting a crisis whenever my phone number comes up. She's leaving behind the role of co-parenting and backup for crises. It won't be easy, but it'll be nice for her to get to be Mom, Carol, and Grandma Turtle once more. My Donna Reed impression of "wait till your father gets home" will mean today, or maybe I won't even need to say it because he'll just be there. And it won't be this weekend or when he gets back from patrol, which could be 2 months. In the poem, I Need the Sea, Paulo Neruda tells us that it seems a small thing for a young man to have come here to live with his own fire. This young man went to the sea 20 years ago, and now he's coming home. This is a terrifying prospect for Doug. 20 years of riding the escalator of the military, knowing where the next step will be. 20 years of knowing the destination. 20 years of knowing who, what, when, where, how, and why are no longer the framework for his days, weeks, months, and years to come. We're only 2 weeks into his retirement, which feels about like 2 years. And he's itching to do something more. All of these conversations, frustrations, and musings have been based on the arbitrary idea that when one door closes, another door opens. And Neruda states, "I need the sea because it teaches me." We can't force our time frames on the sea any more than we can force the frame we want on our own lives. The sea has an ebb and flow all its own, separate from our lives and all the lives of those who inhabit the sea. Life has a way of setting its own ebb and flow, the broken window, the leaking roof, the hospital stay. In the greater scheme of things, we are a shell that has survived a storm, maybe broken, maybe whole, maybe fragments left from the jaws of the gull. In the greater scheme, we might be a rock that spent its life hidden below the surface, being polished in the depths of the ocean. In the greater scheme, we might be a bottle tossed away carelessly some far gone day, tossed and turned in the surf, so that only later can we see its beauty. In retrospect, I wonder why it took me so long to figure out the problem. In our years of dealing with patrols, isolated duty, and all the other ways that we've adjusted time and again, I forgot that it takes time. There are usually a lot of fights before a patrol. In fact, there are so many that they talk about it in boot camp. It's easier to leave when you're angry with somebody. Homecoming is another change, albeit a happy change. When Doug got home from his year of isolated duty on the last Aleutian Island, it's the one that when you look on the international dateline, it comes and it juts out around an island, and he was on the island, it juts around. He actually had the audacity to expect space in my house. He was gone for an entire year, and then he was commuting daily to Philly for 4 years. He wanted his own corner for a chair and his aquarium. It was a good 6 months before I stopped thinking about it as my house and remembered that it's our house. Now he's retiring and he wants his own desk and a man cave where he can lock his tools and stuff. I finally realized that we need to give ourselves time to adjust. Time to adjust to living here without a 4-hour daily commute. He doesn't need to retire on September 1st and begin his next career on September 2nd. I don't need to jump into CPE in the fall or spring. In the middle of such a huge, life-changing situation, we are not facing our one and only opportunity to begin a new civilian life. One door closes and another door opens, but life's just a little too messy for that. The University of the Waves has much to teach us. In our hubris, we like to think of ourselves as powerful and all-knowing. We forget that it only took an iceberg to sink the Titanic. We forget that even with all our technology and knowledge, we can only begin to guess at the whims of the sea. The only way we can change the sea is to pollute it. So we're taking this first year to give ourselves time to transition, time to pause between the closed door and the door that will open. This is not a decision that was made lightly or without emotional pain. This prospect has been terrifying for both of us, all of us. I can't begin to imagine not being the full-time at-home emergency contact. I can't begin to imagine the phone ringing for an emergency and not dropping everything to run and deal with another visit to the behavioral health unit at the hospital. I can't imagine not having to drive and spend time at whichever psychiatric facility had a bed that week. One door closes, but it's important to spend some time looking for the next door. Why do we expect that the next door will just present itself without any effort on our part? And if we put no effort into the choice, will we end up where we want to be? How can two doors occupy the same space and open and close at the same time? Why is the saying singular? Why do we think there's only one door? As if some great old white man in the sky has preordained our lives. I could go on and describe what these doors may look like, their appearance, the number of locks, an old or a new door, paint peeling or steel reinforced. There are so many to choose from. Choosing the wrong door doesn't mean you can't look for another door. Maybe some of the heartache and grief can be saved by choosing the next door carefully. Or is there no such thing as a wrong door, just a not for right now door? Because it isn't that one door closes and there is one door that is opened. The door closes and there are many other doors to choose from. What if the door you choose is poised at the top of a set of stairs and you fall with the first step? Do you turn around and climb back up the steps, or do you look for the door with where you've landed? One door closes and another door opens. So I've decided I'm going to go back to lifeguarding. It's always been the job that I've gone back to. My absolute favorite, for which most lifeguards think I'm crazy, is lifeguarding lap swimmers and just watching them swim back and forth. It's kind of zen. And the best part is that when I walk out the door, I leave the job there. It's not what I want to do as a career for the next 20 years or so, but it's familiar and it's safe. And I suspect that this next year is going to be trying enough as it is. Andrew is in 11th grade and larger than my husband. Benjamin is starting high school and as big as I am. I suspect I'm going to need something that's familiar and safe. Neither Andrew nor Benjamin has ever known me to work outside the home, to not be available to drop everything and come running at the faintest sign of trouble. In fact, lifeguarding is a job that I absolutely cannot leave until the next person gets there. So there's no chance of falling back into the old patterns. I was informed during my time in seminary in no uncertain terms that I had ruined my children's lives by going back to school. I won't be able to do that. Neither one of them understands what it is to have Dad home for the better part of the day. This year is a privilege. In return for 20 years of blood, sweat, tears, hearing loss, bad knees, and all the other sacrifices, Doug gets a retirement check every month. We have health insurance. We realize that because of his time in the military, we own our house, not our mortgage. And his retirement pay will cover the basics, taxes, food, clothes, and the repairs that we put off because we were paying the mortgage. Those choices and sacrifices, perhaps those doors that we chose to open, buying a small house was intentional, but it's going to take some time to get used to 2 adults and 2 adult-sized teenage boys living in a 1,000 square foot home with only 1 bathroom. Doug and I realized that we could each take a part-time job and have the luxury of taking a year to remember who we are together as a family. We are in a very privileged place. That we can take time to consider our options is only possible because of the choices we've made and the opportunities we now have that most people don't. A year to not be the only one to wake up and get the kids on the bus. A year of not being the only parent to attend all the school meetings and appointments that come with having 2 special needs kids. A year to know what it's like to be in the choir again. A year to be able to not make plans and just drop things and go for ice cream because we want to. One door closes and another opens. But for now, we're going to live in between those doors. We're going to live in that transition, and it's going to be messy and sticky and yucky. There will be fights and battles of will. There will be tears, smiles, laughs, and hugs. And maybe this time next year, we will be better able to search for the next door that we need to open. The quiet power out there, sure as a stone shrine in the depths, replaced my world in which we're growing stubborn, sorrow gathering oblivion, and my life changed suddenly as I became part of its pure movement. May your transitions and changes allow you to come to find out who you are. May your doors open smoothly, revealing bright sunshine or a glorious full moon. Amen, and blessed be.